Hey guys, this is Stel Yafty with Close.io. Today I want to talk about the human auto dialer, a bit about experiments in technology and sales. So a lot of times sales teams will face certain challenges, and in today's world they will look for technology to help them overcome these challenges. Today I want to share an experience about how you should use humans and use experiments to see if technology could actually make a difference before you actually invest in building out technology or buying technology and sourcing it in improving your sales performance. So here's a story from our past. We used to run a very big sales consultancy and sales outsourcing service called Elastic Sales. We were basically doing outsourced sales for Silicon Valley technology companies. And one client that we had was actually selling software directly to doctors. So after growing that team bigger and bigger for a while and having some good success with it, one of the main challenges that we had selling to doctors was that the reach rate was really, really low. We were doing outbound sales, calling into practices and hospitals, but way too many times we weren't actually reaching a decision maker or weren't even reaching anyone for that matter. So at some point, the sales team came together and asked the question, what could we do to drastically increase our reach rate and make sure that our salespeople don't spend so much time listening to dial tones and voicemails and talking to people that are not ultimately able to make a decision, or even talking to a secretary asking to talk to the doctor and then hearing that the doctor's busy with a patient and so on and so forth. So our salespeople would spend the majority of their time basically wasted not having a chance to even sell or pitch anything. So obviously, after looking around a little bit, we found the software called auto dialers and predictive dialers, basically software that allows you to call multiple numbers at the same time and drop the numbers that are just continually ringing or going to voicemail to kind of improve the reach rate and make salespeople a lot more productive. So we started asking ourselves, should we actually purchase that? Which very quickly we were sure we didn't want to do because we had built our internal little sales software called Close.io that we eventually released to the world. But back then it was kind of a secret sauce, an internal project. So we knew we didn't want to buy anything. So the question was, did we want to build it? Was it worth for us to spend all the engineering time in building kind of an auto dialer or predictive dialer internally to help our team accelerate their results? So instead of arguing that back and forth and trying to do some magical math in a spreadsheet, what we decided to do after we had the debate internally was we called up a temp agency and we asked for 5 temps for the next day. So the next morning the sales team comes in and there's like 5 random people waiting in the office, temps ready to do whatever kind of work we have for them for the day. So here's what we did. We had 5 temps. We purchased a couple of wireless headsets. And we try to run an experiment, kind of throwing humans at the problem, where these temps would actually dial numbers. They would log in into our system and call doctors. And their job was basically to hang up when there was nobody picking up or there was a voicemail. Or if a human being, usually an assistant or secretary, picked up the phone, the temp's job would be to say, hey, my name is John. I'm calling from blah. Can I talk to the doctor? And if the assistant, if the gatekeeper said yes and connected them to the doctor, the temp would go over to the salesperson and hand them the headless headset mic, and the salesperson would basically take over the mic and go, "Hey, doctor, so and so, this is John," and take over the conversation in a seamless manner. So the temp would basically act as if he or she was the salesperson, and whenever they were able to connect to a doctor, they would just hand over the headset. Now, you would think, wow, didn't the people realize that sometimes the voice changed in the middle of the conversation? A little fun fact, no, they didn't. Almost nobody, I think just once or twice somebody actually said, was that another person or was that you? But most of the time people don't, and there's a fun fact that the brain will actually change certain things once in a while to make reality match perception. So if you talk to somebody and it sounds like they changed the voice in the middle of it just for a little while and then changed it back to the original voice, the brain will often go, well, that makes no sense, so let's erase this little fact from my memory to make life simpler. I could do a whole video about that, which is fascinating, but let's go back to our original story. So we're having these temps, they're dialing like crazy, they're handing off headsets. It's a little bit of a mess, it's a craziness, like not everything went over smooth, but it was a lot of fun, and more importantly, it got us a lot of data. At the end of the day, it was crystal clear that we were able to reach, our salespeople were able to reach three to four more times a decision maker than before. So we knew that even with this kind of human experiment that was not perfectly efficient and effective, the results were good enough to actually justify investing engineering time in building out our internal little autodialer. Now we spent about a week to doing that, and we saw tremendous results and tremendous success with many other campaigns utilizing that autodialer technology that we built. But it was also a little bit, of a hackery version. When we ultimately decided to release Closeout, we didn't release that piece of software in it, but that's hopefully something we're going to be able to release soon in a much better, more powerful way. So the main lesson here is that a lot of times technology can help your sales team dramatically improve efficiencies and effectiveness, but you want to be cautious of wasting too much time researching vendors or building your internal solutions, but rather actually ask yourself, is there a way for us to quickly experiment and validate that this would actually move the needle? Is there a way for us to throw humans at this problem and hire a bunch of temps or freelancers and just test this in a hacky way and see what the results are before we actually invest a lot more resources into building this out or purchasing it and integrating it into our workflow? So, instead of building an autodialer, what we did is we created a human autodialer by having a bunch of temps, wireless headsets, and just doing something that's a little bit risky, a little bit bold. Some people would have been afraid of just handing off the phone and being like, hey, my name is John from company so-and-so. And then the doctor sometimes would be on the phone and be like, yes, I'm Dr. blah, blah, blah. And they would just hand over the phone. And the salesperson would take over and be like, hey, doctor, I wanted to talk to you about blah, 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 right? That kind of doing that is a little risky, a little bold, a little shameless, but that's usually many times what it takes to run an effective sales team and to make sure that you run experiments really quickly, really efficiently, and then invest time in things that really matter.